Have you ever had this weird feeling that your life doesn't quite feel like yours? Like you're an actor in a play you never auditioned for, going through motions, following some invisible script someone else handed you? That uneasy stirring in your chest? That's not just anxiety. That's your soul. It's trying to get your attention. It's quietly but urgently whispering, "Wake up. This isn't why you came here." Let's get real for a moment. You weren't born just to pay bills, work a 9 to 5, and count down the days to the weekend. That's not your story. That's not your purpose. You came here for something bigger. You came equipped with gifts, real ones. You have a mission, a calling, a reason for being here. But somewhere along the way, you forgot. Something caused you to lose touch with who you really are. And no, it's not just you. It happens to almost everyone. There's actually a name for this: programmed spiritual amnesia. And no, it's not random. From the moment you're born, literally from your first breath, an invisible system starts working against you. It's like a factory reset button is hit on your soul's memory drive. All the information about your cosmic identity wiped. Your abilities hidden. Your mission muffled. Your inner compass thrown off course. Sound dramatic? Think about your childhood. How many times were you told you were daydreaming too much? How often were you made to feel weird for being sensitive or too imaginative? How many times were you told to be realistic, stop fantasizing? This is how life works. Each of those moments chipped away at your connection to something sacred. Layer by layer, the veils were pulled over your consciousness. You learned to distrust your gut. You learned to ignore the signs the universe was showing you. You learned to believe you were just a tiny speck in an enormous, chaotic world. But you're not a speck. You're a spark. Modern society is like a machine designed to keep you spiritually asleep. School? It teaches you facts and formulas, but not who you are. Not why you're here. Not what your soul came to do. Media? It tells you what to buy, what to wear, how to think, but never how to feel your truth. Never how to tune into your own voice. The system? It keeps you chasing goals that were never yours to begin with, dreams someone else implanted in your mind. You wake up, slog through traffic, clock in at a job that drains you, come home exhausted, pass out, repeat. And in all of that, where's the space to connect with yourself? To ask the big questions. Who am I really? Why am I here? What's my purpose? Spoiler alert. It's not by accident that you don't have time to think about these things. Because here's the truth. A person who remembers their power is a threat to the system. A person who reconnects to their divine identity can't be controlled. They don't settle for crumbs. They don't live small. They don't believe in lack, fear, or limitation. But there's good news, and it's a game changer. The amnesia is not permanent. Your soul is still whole. Your gifts are still alive. Your connection to the divine has never been broken. It's all still there, waiting for the right moment to wake back up. And if this is resonating with you, if your chest feels warm, if something inside you is saying yes, then maybe, just maybe, that moment is now. Your soul speaks, constantly. The question is, are you listening? It's always sending you signs. It creates circumstances. It nudges people into your life. But most people miss these messages because they were never taught how to interpret them. But you're not most people. You're here. You're watching this. That means part of you is already tuned in. So let's start breaking this down. Let's go into the first sign, one that your soul keeps using over and over again. Recurring dreams. And I'm not talking about those weird, jumbled, forgettable ones. I'm talking about the dreams that stay with you, that replay again and again, that feel more real than your waking life. You dream of places you've never been, but somehow they feel familiar. You meet strangers, but feel like you've known them for lifetimes. You understand things you've never learned, speak languages you've never studied, know skills you've never been taught. These dreams, they're not random, they're fragments of past lives, or future lives, or even parallel versions of you living in other dimensions. Your soul is showing you, this is who you were, this is who you could become. But dreams aren't the only way your soul communicates. There's something else, and it's just as powerful. Synchronicities. You know those eerie coincidences that feel too perfect to ignore? Like you think of someone and, bam, they text you. Or you're struggling with a problem, and suddenly someone random drops the exact answer you needed into a conversation. Or you keep seeing repeating numbers on clocks, receipts, license plates. 1111, 1333, 777. It's not luck. It's not chance. There are no coincidences, just guidance in disguise. And then there's a sign that runs even deeper. That quiet, persistent feeling that you don't fully belong in this world. That strange sense that everyone else seems content with a life that feels hollow to you. You look around and wonder, why is no one questioning this? Why does everyone seem okay with working jobs they hate, chasing goals they didn't choose, living a life that feels so small? It's not arrogance. It's not you being ungrateful. It's not some superiority complex. It's your soul remembering. It's whispering, you're not from here, not entirely. And it's right. Because you are multidimensional, you exist in more than one reality. The you that's walking around in a physical body right now, that's just a sliver of your full being. That's why you feel like something's missing. That's why you crave more depth, more connection, more meaning. Because somewhere deep down, you remember. You remember what it was like to feel whole, to feel infinite, to feel plugged into something far greater than this world. And that memory, it's not a fantasy, it's a breadcrumb, a clue, and it's leading you somewhere incredible. So let's talk about something you've probably felt before, those sudden waves of existential crisis that seem to come out of nowhere. 1 minute you're fine, everything feels normal, you're doing your thing, following the routine, maybe even enjoying life. And then, bam, a strange wave hits you. You feel empty, restless, disconnected. You start questioning everything, your job, your relationships, your life path. You wonder, what's the point of any of this? Sound familiar? Most people label that as anxiety or depression. Society tries to medicate it, suppress it, distract you from it. But in truth, these are awakening symptoms. What you're experiencing is your soul rebelling against a life that's not aligned with your truth. It's trying to shake you out of autopilot, to make you uncomfortable enough that you have to change. That discomfort, that inner chaos, it's actually the beginning of clarity. And once you understand that, it changes everything. These aren't breakdowns, they're breakthroughs in disguise. You see, the great spiritual teachers throughout history, they all went through this. From the pharaohs of ancient Egypt to Tibetan monks, from native shamans to medieval alchemists, they all spoke of this moment when the soul starts to wake up. When you begin to remember who you truly are. But they also knew something else, something that's been erased from history books, hidden in metaphors, buried under religious symbols. There's a way to remember. There's a method, a technique, a process to restore the memory of the soul. And for thousands of years, this wisdom was passed quietly, carefully, from master to student, hidden in plain sight, but never shared openly with the world. Why? Because this knowledge is powerful, and power in the wrong hands, that's dangerous. If too many people woke up at once, if too many remembered their true nature, the entire control system would collapse. So instead, they turned this knowledge into religion. Something you're supposed to believe in, but not experience. They made it seem esoteric, like it was only for monks or mystics. But that's just not true. You already have everything you need inside you. You're not broken, you're just blocked. And those blocks, they can be removed. Let's go back for a second. In ancient Egypt, this soul memory ritual was performed inside the pyramids, specifically in the hidden chambers deep within. Pharaohs weren't just kings. They were initiates, beings who had reconnected with their divine blueprint. They used what we now call spiritual technology, things that sound like science fiction to us today, but were actually just normal tools for those who remembered how to use them. There are ancient writings, the pyramid texts, that talk about the opening of the mouth and awakening the serpent within. These weren't just ceremonial acts. They were instructions, literal steps to reactivate the soul's memory while still alive. Over in ancient India, the sages, called rishis, developed methods that we now call yoga and meditation. But in the original form, these weren't just about stretching or relaxing. They were energetic techniques meant to restore access to something called the Akashic field, a sort of cosmic archive that holds every experience your soul has ever had. And when you dive into the Vedas, the oldest spiritual texts on earth, they talk about the Atman, your true self, beyond ego, beyond the body, beyond this one lifetime. It's all there. The techniques, the blueprints, the proof that humans have always known how to reconnect with the divine inside them. The Tibetans developed their own version of this knowledge. They called it Bardo, the state between death and rebirth. But they didn't just study it passively. They trained in it. They believed you could consciously navigate between different realities, between dimensions, if you practiced hard enough. In their tradition, there are beings called tulkas, souls, who can remember their past lives and intentionally come back to complete specific missions. This isn't vague spiritual fluff. This is spiritual science, applied techniques for soul awareness. Even the native shamans of the Americas understood this deeply. They would use sacred plants, fasting, isolation, and rhythmic movement to simulate a kind of temporary death, so they could access the truth beyond the veil. And when they returned, they didn't just come back with personal insights. They brought back wisdom, knowledge they used to help heal their entire communities. They didn't see reality the way most people do. To them, this world was just one layer of existence. And in medieval Europe, the alchemists were doing the same thing, but in secret. Most people think alchemy was about turning lead into gold. But the real goal, transforming the human soul, awakening divine consciousness, becoming eternal while still in the body. When they spoke of the philosopher's stone or the elixir of life, they weren't talking about something you could drink or touch. They were talking about a state of being, a shift in consciousness. The moment you remember, you are infinite. So here's the big question. Why is this not common knowledge? Why isn't this taught in schools? Why don't we hear about it in mainstream science or religion? Simple. Because if you knew the truth, if you remembered who you were, you wouldn't be controllable. You wouldn't stay stuck in dead-end jobs. You wouldn't consume out of fear. You wouldn't bow to systems that make you feel small. You would create. You would expand. You would radiate. Because once you know you're a divine being in a human body, playing a temporary role in an eternal game, everything shifts. Fear dies. Scarcity dies. Control systems collapse. And something new begins. This is why the knowledge was hidden, not because it wasn't real, but because it was too real, too powerful, too liberating. But guess what? The time of hiding is over. Right now, something massive is happening on a global level. A cosmic shift. Energies are aligning in ways they haven't in thousands of years. Portals are opening. Frequencies are rising. And more people than ever are waking up. The veil is thinning. The time is now. You're not here by accident. You're not watching this by mistake. Your soul is ready. The signal is strong. Now it's just a matter of learning how to tune in. So what does it actually look like when your soul starts to remember? When this awakening process begins, whether slowly or all at once, there are unmistakable signs that show up. You've probably experienced more of them than you realize. Let's go deeper. We already talked about recurring dreams, those vivid, hyper-real experiences that feel more like memories than fantasy. They're one of the first ways your soul starts to break through the veil. But right behind that come the synchronicities, those magical, weirdly perfect coincidences that make you do a double take. You think of a song, and it's suddenly playing. You wonder about someone you haven't seen in years, and they randomly show up. You're facing a major decision, and you overhear a conversation that gives you the exact answer you needed, word for word. These moments aren't random. They're designed. Your soul is using the external world like a mirror, sending clues, leaving breadcrumbs. You just have to be paying attention. And the more you notice, the more they happen. Then there are the numbers. Seeing repeated numbers like 1111, 222, 3033, make your move. Manifest. Ask. Align. 222 is about trust, cooperation, and divine timing. You're being told to slow down, have faith, and let things unfold. 3033 is the number of expression and spiritual connection. You're being asked to speak your truth, use your voice, create. 444444, 444, 444. These are not superstitions. This is applied cosmic mathematics. Real energetic blueprints. If you start tracking these number sequences, when they appear, how they align with your thoughts or emotions, you'll begin to see just how intelligent and personal the system really is. But let's go even deeper. Have you ever had this quiet, aching feeling that you don't really belong in the world around you? You look at other people living what seems like normal lives, getting excited about superficial things, arguing over stuff that doesn't matter, building lives that feel completely out of alignment with anything real, and you just can't relate. You've probably asked yourself, why doesn't this make sense to me? Why can't I just be like everyone else? It's not because you're broken, it's because your soul remembers. It remembers that this isn't your true home. It remembers a higher frequency, a deeper connection, a more authentic way of being. You're what many spiritual traditions call a wanderer, or a starseed, or an old soul, someone who's lived many lifetimes, in many realms, and has returned to Earth during this time for a very specific reason. That feeling of being out of place, that's not dysfunction, that's alignment. It's your inner compass telling you, you're here on mission. Don't get too comfortable. Another huge sign. Existential collapse. You know, that moment when life just kind of breaks apart. You feel like you're unraveling. Your identity crumbles. Your sense of direction vanishes. You no longer know what you're doing or why you're doing it. It can feel terrifying, but it's one of the most sacred stages of awakening. Because it's in that dark night of the soul that the truth starts to surface. It's when the old layers fall away, the illusions, the programs, the false identities, and what's left behind is raw, real, undeniable. You start asking the real questions. Not just what should I do, but who am I? What am I? And that question, who am I really, is the key that unlocks everything. And let's not forget the emotional roller coaster that comes with awakening. One day you feel lit up, like your heart is on fire and you're floating in light. The next day, you're in tears for no reason, questioning your sanity. That's normal. You're recalibrating. Your nervous system is adjusting to higher frequencies. Your emotional body is purging years, lifetimes of suppressed pain, trauma, and spiritual fatigue. You're not losing your mind. You're finding your soul. And just like any detox, it can get messy before it gets clear. One of the lesser-known signs of awakening is what I call energetic sensitivity. Suddenly, you can't tolerate things the way you used to. Loud environments overwhelm you. Toxic people drain you. Violent or low-vibration media feels unbearable. Even certain foods, smells, or clothing textures might feel off. Why? Because you're no longer numbed out. Your system is becoming finely tuned. You're now operating on a different bandwidth, and everything not aligned with that frequency starts to fall away. And here's a big one. Time begins to feel strange. Some days feel like they stretch forever. Others pass in the blink of an eye. You forget what day it is. You look back and realize something that felt like last week actually happened a year ago. That's not just poor memory, it's your consciousness moving outside of linear time. When you begin awakening, you begin to access the quantum field, where past, present, and future overlap. Your soul exists outside of time, and as you reconnect, your awareness begins to reflect that. This is why people deep in meditation, or during powerful dreams or rituals, often feel like hours passed when it was only minutes. Or the opposite, like 5 minutes flew by, but felt like a whole journey. Your perception is shifting, expanding. And now let's talk about something beautiful that happens along this path. Soul memories surfacing. These come in waves, sometimes as flashes, images of other lifetimes, sometimes as feelings, deep emotions triggered by something seemingly insignificant, sometimes as unexplainable knowledge. You just know things you've never learned. You might walk into a temple in a country you've never visited and feel like you're home. You might meet someone and feel like you've known them for centuries. You might read a sentence in an ancient text and burst into tears because something deep in you remembers. These aren't fantasies. They're fragments of the truth. And as you keep walking this path, they'll come more often. Stronger, clearer, and with them will come an unshakable sense of purpose. You'll realize that your life is not random, that the pain you've gone through, the talents you have, the people who show up in your story, it's all designed, all part of a sacred blueprint, and you are waking up to read it. Now that you're starting to recognize the signs, let's talk about the how. How do you actually remember who you are? How do you move from scattered flashes of intuition to a grounded, clear connection with your divine identity? Here's the truth. All of the great spiritual masters knew how to do this. They didn't just stumble into enlightenment. They followed a process, a ritual, a path, and they left clues hidden in temples, scrolls, chants, symbols, monuments, and metaphors. Why so cryptic? Because this knowledge, in the wrong hands, could be misused. If someone tried to awaken their soul just to gain control over others, it would destroy them. So the ancient ones hid the map in plain sight. Let's decode some of it now. In ancient Egypt, the pharaohs weren't just political rulers. They were spiritual initiates. The pyramids? Not just tombs or monuments. They were activation chambers. Inside those stone chambers, rituals were performed that helped initiates awaken their divine memory. This included something called the opening of the mouth ceremony, which wasn't just a death ritual. It was about speaking the truth of your soul into the physical realm. It was believed that through vibration, sound, and intention, one could realign their physical body with cosmic frequencies. And then there's the serpent energy, what many traditions call Kundalini. The Egyptians spoke of it symbolically as the serpent that rises within, awakening the spine, uncoiling your cosmic potential. These weren't myths. They were precise instructions. Over in ancient India, yogis and sages were doing something just as powerful. The original form of yoga wasn't just about stretching. It was a system of energetic reactivation. Each pose, each breath, each chant was designed to bring your awareness into alignment with the divine. They talked about the Atman, the eternal self, and how it could be experienced directly through meditation, mantras, and breathwork. The Vedas, some of the oldest spiritual texts on earth, aren't religious doctrine. They're manuals. They literally explain the step-by-step processes for accessing cosmic memory. They describe the Akashic records, an infinite field that contains the imprint of every soul's journey. And the practices of the rishis were all about tuning your awareness into that field. In Tibetan Buddhism, this process was even more precise. The monks didn't just believe in past lives. They trained to remember them. Their teachings on the bardo, the state between lives, explained how consciousness moves from one realm to another. And through specific meditative techniques, they learned to navigate those realms consciously, even before death. They talk about tulkas, beings who can consciously choose to reincarnate with memory intact, to continue their soul's mission. And many young monks today are still identified as reincarnated masters based on the memories they share, without ever having been taught those things. This is real. This is practiced. And in the shamanic traditions of the Americas, the story is the same, just told with a different rhythm. Shamans weren't just healers, they were travelers between worlds. Through drumming, dancing, fasting, vision quests, and sacred plants, they learned to temporarily die and return with the truth. They would access ancestral wisdom, soul guidance, cosmic truths, and bring them back, not just for themselves, but for the whole tribe. Their entire role was to remember what others forgot. And what they always reported was this reality is not the only one. It's not even the deepest one. It's just the surface. You go deeper through intention. And finally, in medieval Europe, there were the alchemists. You've probably heard about them turning lead into gold, right? That was just a metaphor. The real transformation they were after was internal. They wanted to turn the lead of a dense, ego-bound human into the gold of a soul-aware being. Their mysterious diagrams, symbols, and potions, all coded descriptions of energetic transmutation, of awakening. They called it the great work, the sacred path of self-mastery. The philosopher's stone wasn't a rock. It was a process, a realization. The moment you remembered your immortality, not just as a belief, but as a direct knowing. And again, ask yourself, why was all of this hidden? Why is none of this taught in schools? Why is it seen as mythology or pseudoscience instead of history? Because a fully awakened person, someone who knows they are infinite, multidimensional, divinely sourced, cannot be controlled. They don't obey unjust systems. They don't settle for fear-based living. They don't believe they're broken. They create from within. And the moment people realize they have this power, it spreads. Like fire. It can't be unlearned. You can't put someone back to sleep after they've seen the truth of who they are. That's why these teachings were buried, diluted, or reframed as superstition. But now, right now, we're in a window of time where it's safe to remember again. Not only safe, but essential. The energies on Earth are shifting. The collective vibration is rising. And if you're feeling the pull, the call, the restlessness, it's because your soul signed up to awaken during this moment. Not 100 years ago. Not next lifetime. Now. And here's the wild part. You already know how to do this. You may not remember the steps yet. You may not have all the pieces. But the blueprint, it's in you, encoded in your cells, imprinted in your soul. And when you start activating that knowledge, even a little, it begins to unfold. Piece by piece, pattern by pattern. And you don't have to be a monk or a mystic to begin. You just need willingness, curiosity, the courage to peel back the layers, because what's underneath, it's not chaos, it's clarity, it's you. So let's pause here for a second, because this next part, it changes everything. I'm going to tell you something that most people go their whole lives without hearing. You already know how to do this. Really, you do. The ability to remember your soul's purpose, to awaken your inner gifts, to reconnect with the divine, it's not something you have to learn from scratch. It's something you have to remember. It's already in you. You came into this life with the codes, the wisdom, the knowing. That's why, as a child, you just knew things you had no way of knowing. You sensed energies. You had vivid dreams. You may have talked to imaginary friends, seen colors around people, felt strange déjà vu. That wasn't childish imagination. That was real. You were still connected, still tuned in. But what happened? They taught you to forget. They told you it was make-believe. They said, "Don't be weird. That's not real. Grow up." And little by little, you shut it down. You buried the magic to survive in a world that didn't know what to do with it. But here's the key. It never disappeared. It just went dormant. And now, it's waking back up. And with the right practice, the right energy, and the right intention, you can reawaken all of it faster than you think. That's where the ancient ritual comes in. Now, before we dive into it, I need to say something important. This is not a game. This is a sacred process that's been used for thousands of years by mystics, seers, alchemists, and spiritual masters. It will stir deep layers of your consciousness. It may bring old memories to the surface. It might unlock parts of you that feel overwhelming at first. It is powerful, and it's meant to be honored. If you feel ready, then take a deep breath, because this is how it begins. Find a place where you won't be disturbed for at least 30 minutes. It doesn't need to be fancy. Your bedroom, a quiet corner of your living room, even your bathroom, anywhere that feels private, safe, and energetically clean. Turn off your phone, TV, computer, anything that creates noise or distraction. Why? Because electronic devices emit subtle frequencies that interfere with the energetic field you're about to access. Think of it like trying to tune into a sacred radio station without static. Dim the lights, light a candle if you want, burn incense or sage if it feels right. Create a container that feels intentional. Now, sit comfortably with your spine upright. You can sit on the floor, a cushion, a chair. Just make sure your spine is long and relaxed. This posture is important. Your spine is like an antenna, connecting your physical body to cosmic energy. This is not ordinary breathing. This is a sacred breath pattern based on ancient mathematical ratios, specifically designed to shift your brainwaves into theta state. That's the same frequency associated with lucid dreaming, deep meditation, and mystical experience. Here's the sequence. Inhale deeply through your nose for a count of 4. Hold that breath for a count of 7. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. Repeat this cycle 21 times. It may feel strange at first. That's okay. Just relax into the rhythm. As you continue, you'll notice a shift. Your mind begins to quiet. Your body softens. Your awareness expands. You may feel tingling, warmth, a sensation of floating, or even lightheadedness. All of this is normal. You're tuning in. You're shifting out of the thinking mind and into the soul mind. After the 21 breaths, you begin silently repeating the ancient mantra, Satanama. Say it mentally. Not out loud, just in your mind, on a gentle loop. Each syllable holds a sacred meaning. Sa, infinity, the beginning, the cosmic source. Ta, life existence, the birth of form. Na, death, transformation, the end of illusion. Ma, rebirth, renewal, the return to truth. This mantra activates your inner remembrance. It reboots your spiritual system. Repeat it silently for 11 minutes. You don't need to watch the clock. Your intuition will know when it's time. During this time, things might start to happen. You may see images in your mind's eye, symbols, faces, colors. You may feel emotions rising. You might get flashes of memories that aren't from this lifetime. That's all part of the process. Don't resist. Don't analyze. Just observe. You're opening a doorway, and what comes through is what your soul is ready to show you. Some people feel nothing at first. That's okay. Others cry, or laugh, or feel an overwhelming sense of peace. There is no right experience. Only what is true for you. After the mantra ends, sit in total silence. Now, ask your soul this question. Who am I really? But don't ask it with your head. Ask it with your entire being. Let the question vibrate through your body. Don't chase an answer. Just wait. Stay empty. Stay still. And something will come. It might be a word, an image, a memory, a feeling, a knowing. It might not even make sense at first, but trust it. Your soul speaks in symbols, not sentences. And this moment, this question, is the turning point. Because whatever answer you receive, that's your thread, your clue, your first breadcrumb. From here, everything begins to shift. So now you've asked the sacred question, who am I really? You sat in stillness, you waited, without force, and something arrived. Maybe it was a whisper, a flash of light, a word, a feeling. Maybe it didn't make sense, but it meant something. Deep down, you felt it. This is where most people stop. They get a glimpse, and then they doubt. They try to explain it away. It was just my imagination. They tell themselves it's not real unless it comes with trumpets or lightning bolts. But here's what you need to understand. The soul doesn't shout. It doesn't debate. It doesn't explain itself. It simply reveals. And what it reveals, that's yours, personal, powerful, perfectly timed. The next step is critical. You need to honor what you received. Right now, immediately after the answer comes, say this out loud. I recognize who I am. I accept who I am. I honor who I am. Say it slowly. Feel the words land. This is a seal, a spiritual contract. You're telling your subconscious, your energy field, your soul, I'm not going to forget this again. I'm claiming this truth. It's like hitting save on a file your soul just opened. If you skip this part, the information can fade. The ego might override it. The doubts may return. But when you speak it aloud, you lock it in. And then, don't jump up. Don't rush back to your to-do list. Don't immediately open TikTok or check your messages. Sit. Be still. Let it integrate. Let the energy settle. You've just connected with a version of yourself that exists beyond time, beyond identity, beyond programming. That version isn't fragile. It's eternal. But your nervous system, the human part of you, needs a minute to catch up. Stretch. Breathe. Place your hand on your heart. Close your eyes again if you want. Let it land. Now, let's talk about what happens after the ritual. Because this is where things get interesting. Most people expect some big cinematic shift, fireworks, revelations, instant change. But the soul doesn't always work that way. Sometimes, the transformation is subtle but unstoppable. Here's what to expect. Some people feel deeply tired afterward. Others feel buzzed and wide awake. Some feel emotionally raw. Others feel euphoric. You might have intense dreams over the next few nights. You might cry for no clear reason. You might suddenly lose interest in things that used to excite you. That's not weird. That's realignment. You just shifted your internal frequency, and now everything not aligned with that new vibration. It starts falling away, so be gentle with yourself. Drink water, rest, journal, let things move. Get ready. After this kind of soul activation, the universe starts responding fast. You'll start to notice signs, repeating numbers, symbolic dreams, random conversations that hit like truth bombs. You may run into people from your past who trigger something important, or meet someone completely new who unlocks a next step. The key is, pay attention. Every little coincidence is now a thread. Follow them. Trust your curiosity. The more you notice, the more the signs intensify. This is huge. Don't be surprised if certain parts of your life start feeling out of place. The job, the relationship, the habits, the friendships. It doesn't mean you have to quit everything or burn your world down, but it does mean something is shifting. You're stepping into a version of yourself that requires more alignment, more honesty, more soul. And anything that's not real? It'll start to feel like sandpaper against your skin. Don't panic, don't rush, but don't ignore it either. Let the discomfort guide you. It's showing you what's ready to evolve. You'll start sensing things more clearly. You'll feel when something is off, even if it looks fine. You'll know when to say yes or no, without a long pros and cons list. That's your inner compass activating. It's not magic. It's just you, unblocked, and as your trust in that voice grows, so will its accuracy. Decisions will feel cleaner. You'll feel more stable, even in chaos. This is the power of soul alignment. Here's the part most people don't tell you. You can repeat the ritual, but you shouldn't overdo it. This isn't a daily habit. It's not something you force. Think of it like visiting a sacred temple. You don't go every day just to do something. You go when you're ready to receive something new. The ideal rhythm. Once a month. Always during the new moon. Always at the same time. Always in the same place. Why? Because this creates an energetic pattern. A portal that gets stronger every time you return to it. You're building a bridge between your conscious mind and your higher self. Every ritual is a deeper step into your true identity. Every session brings a more advanced revelation. And eventually, you won't need the ritual at all. You'll be able to drop in, anytime, anywhere. The practice teaches you how to jump. But once you know how, you'll start flying on your own. And that's the real goal. To stop seeking and start being. Because this isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you've always been. You are not here to live a small life. You are not here to follow scripts that were never written for you. You are not here to suppress your soul just to fit in. You are here to shine, to create, to rebuild the world from the inside out. And it starts with this, knowing who you are, honoring that truth, and living from that place, no matter what. Let's go deeper into how your soul speaks. Because once the ritual opens that inner channel, the communication doesn't stop. In fact, it accelerates. You'll start noticing the signs everywhere, not because they weren't there before, but because you're finally tuned into the frequency where they live. One of the clearest ways your soul communicates is through numbers. You've seen it, right? Glancing at the clock, and it's 11:11. Getting a receipt, and it totals 40, and each number sequence carries a specific frequency, a vibration that delivers a particular piece of guidance. Think of them as soul GPS markers, reminders of where you are and what you're aligning with. Here are some of the most common and powerful ones. 11-11-11, alignment manifestation portal. This is a wake-up call, a divine ping. When you see this, your soul is saying, you're in the perfect moment, the veil is thin, what you think becomes real, fast. Use this moment to set an intention, to visualize, to speak a truth out loud. The energy is primed. 200 delayed, unclear. But 222 says, hold the line. You're not alone. This is being woven behind the scenes. It's about patience, balance, and cooperation, often both with people and with unseen spiritual forces. 33. Expression, spiritual guidance. Seeing this means it's time to speak up, to create, to share your truth. It also means you're being supported by guides, ancestors, higher beings. It's your invitation to use your voice. 4444, stability, angelic presence. This number sequence is often called the builder's number. It appears when you're laying foundations in your life, career, home, relationships, spiritual practice. It means you're protected, grounded, and on track, even if it feels hard. But it doesn't stop at numbers. Your soul also speaks through dates. Start paying attention to the recurring dates in your life: birthdays, anniversaries, transitions, breakdowns, breakthroughs. Do major events keep happening in the same month? Around the same time each year? Do you meet important people or experience big changes on repeat dates? That's not chance. That's cosmic design. Every soul follows a rhythm, a pattern, a cycle. And when you learn to recognize yours, you can prepare for what's coming instead of being caught off guard. Most people never notice this. They just think, wow, weird how I always have a crisis in October, or why does something big always happen around my birthday? But when you tune in, you realize your soul is following growth loops. And those loops are usually tied to spiritual numerology cycles like 7-year cycles, internal reflection, rest, karmic healing. 9-year cycles, completion, shedding, endings. 11-year cycles, quantum leaps, unexpected changes. 22-year cycles, legacy, destiny, soul mastery. Want to go deeper? Look back over your life. Mark the years when everything changed. When you shifted, awakened, lost something, gained something, transformed. Now count the years between them. Chances are you'll start seeing patterns. You'll realize that nothing ever happened randomly. Every breakdown was perfectly timed. Every mistake was a portal. Every challenge was an initiation. And here's another fascinating soul code. Names. Start noticing the names that repeat in your life. Maybe you keep dating people with the same first name, or you constantly meet people whose names start with a certain letter. Or you feel drawn to certain names, even fictional ones. Names carry vibrational signatures. They're not just sounds, they're frequencies. When your soul keeps attracting people with certain names, it's creating a resonance. Often those people are here to teach you something, challenge you, awaken a memory, or even fulfill an ancient contract. You might even notice you're drawn to changing your own name. You might crave a nickname, a spiritual name, or a title that feels more aligned. That's your soul asking to be re-identified. That's powerful. Don't ignore it. Next up, places. Every place on earth has a frequency, just like people. Your soul chooses where you're born, not just for the culture or family, but for the energetic environment. Some places speed up awakening. Others slow it down for important karmic lessons. Ever notice that you feel amazing in certain cities and completely drained in others? Ever go on a trip and suddenly feel like you remember something, or like your dreams become more vivid, or emotions start rising out of nowhere? That's not random. You're encountering a soul landmark, a place that holds memory for you. It may be from a past life, a parallel reality, or a future timeline that's beginning to anchor. Some people are called to move constantly, absorbing energies from different parts of the planet. Others stay rooted in one location, going deeper instead of wider, building power in stillness. Your path is yours. The key is noticing when a place is supporting your expansion or blocking your light. Because yes, some environments hold you back. They're not bad, but they're done. When your soul starts feeling heavy, uninspired, or compressed in a location, it's a sign you've outgrown the frequency. The point is this: your soul is always talking. But it doesn't use English. It doesn't type out memos. It doesn't speak in logic. It speaks in codes, in patterns, in emotion, in dreams, in nudges, and the more you listen, really listen, the clearer those messages get. It's like learning a new language. At first, it's just noise. Then you start recognizing a few words. And then one day, you're fluent. Suddenly, life feels different. Not because it got easier, but because now you understand the conversation. You stop asking, "Why is this happening to me?" And you start asking, "What is my soul showing me here?" That single shift changes everything. Now let's talk about something most people never think to ask. When does the soul awaken? Because as much as we love to believe that awakening is random, or that it happens only after some dramatic crisis, it's actually much more structured than that. There is such a thing as cosmic timing. The universe doesn't just throw spiritual awakenings at you out of nowhere. Your soul follows very real energetic cycles, mapped out by ancient astrology, numerology, and the geometry of your life path. And if you understand these cycles, you can ride the wave instead of fighting it. Let's break it down. This is when you're being humanized. You're absorbing the world around you, family conditioning, cultural beliefs, societal rules. You're forming an ego, an identity, a personality. You're developing the character your soul chose to play. Most people during this phase are just trying to belong. You adopt values that aren't yours. You learn what's acceptable and what's not. You're told what's real and what's fantasy. The veil is still heavy. And that's okay. It's part of the design. This is your soul getting ready. This is when the cracks start to show. You begin asking deeper questions. Is this all there is? Why do I feel unfulfilled? What's my real purpose? You might go through a breakdown, a major life change, a dark night of the soul. Everything you thought you wanted starts to feel hollow. This is your soul saying, "It's time. Remember why you came." Some people wake up earlier, some later. But this second phase often corresponds with what astrology calls the Saturn return, a 29.5-year cycle that forces maturity and truth. If you've ever had your life fall apart around age 29 to 30, this is why. Here, You're not just questioning anymore, you're remembering. This is when your gifts fully activate. You get serious about your mission. You start living from the inside out. You're no longer chasing approval, you're following alignment. You may teach, lead, heal, create, write. Your actions become soul-driven. This is the phase where people become true guides, whether they ever speak publicly or not. Your frequency alone becomes medicine for others. And because of that, life begins to organize itself around you. This is when you shift from seeker to sage, from doing to being, from questioning to embodying. You become an anchor for light. You carry the vibration of truth, even in silence. People are drawn to you not because of what you say, but because of who you are. Your very presence is transformational. Not everyone reaches this phase in one lifetime. Some souls stay in cycles longer. Others arrive and then spiral back to learn again. But the point isn't speed, it's sovereignty. It's about knowing where you are and owning it. But there's even more specificity within these phases. Let's talk about the master years, key ages when spiritual transformation is accelerated. These years are often marked by initiation, revelation, or quantum shifts. The big ones, third Christ consciousness. It's when deep service, sacrifice, or spiritual rebirth often begins. 44, the builder's year. It's about legacy, structure, leadership from the soul. 55, radical transformation, a turning point. This year often brings unexpected change that forces total realignment. If you're in one of these ages right now, pay attention. This is not a normal year for you. The energies are more intense. The soul is more active. The lessons are more precise. But don't stop there, because awakening is also deeply tied to the energy of the earth itself. Certain times of year hold more power for soul work. These are cosmic portals, windows when the veil between worlds is thin. Here are some of the most powerful ones. Spring equinox, renewal. Birth, the perfect time to plant new intentions. Summer solstice, illumination, celebration. Peak energy, time to manifest boldly. Autumn equinox, balance, reflection, preparation for internal work. Winter solstice, rebirth, deep rest, the most powerful time to release and reset. Lunar phases, new moon, a blank slate. Ideal for setting intentions. Full moon, release and illumination. Perfect for letting go of what no longer serves. Eclipses, cosmic wildcards. They speed up transformation and shake loose anything misaligned. A rule of thumb, whatever you say, think, or intend during these portals is amplified, tenfold. So if you've ever had a huge breakthrough for no reason during a full moon or eclipse, now you know why. Your soul was using the cosmos as a megaphone. Now let me share a secret that few people know. You have a personal daily portal. It's based on the exact time you were born. If you were born at 3:42 p.m., for example, that exact time every day carries a unique energetic echo, a mini window that reactivates your original frequency. When you align your meditations, decisions, or even short moments of reflection with this time, you connect with your soul's incarnation blueprint. It's like the universe whispering, "Hey, remember who you are." And it doesn't stop there. The more you honor your personal timing, the more your outer life starts to synchronize. You'll notice important calls, messages, meetings, or decisions happening around your birth time. You'll see opportunities arise during equinoxes, breakthroughs hit on your birthday, new people appear on moon phases. That's not chance. That's your soul coordinating your evolution with the cosmic clock. Because you're not separate from the universe, you are the universe, waking up to itself. And now that you're aware of the rhythms, you can dance with them. All right. You've made it this far. You understand the signs. You've felt the stirrings. You see the patterns in your life, and the numbers and names and places. You've recognized that your awakening is not random. It's right on time. Now it's time for the real moment, the ritual. This is the ancient practice that mystics across all traditions have used to awaken their soul memory. It's not complex. It doesn't require years of training. It doesn't need incense, crystals, or chanting in a foreign language. What it does require: two things: pure intention, the courage to face who you really are. Let's walk through the steps together. For your first ritual, do it during the new moon if possible. That's when the energy of new beginnings is strongest. The ideal time of day is during the sacred hour, between 3 a.m. and 6 a.m. Why? Because that's when the veil between dimensions is at its thinnest. It's the time mystics have used for thousands of years to pray, meditate, and channel divine energy. During these early hours, your conscious mind is quiet, your body is still, and your intuition is awake. If 3 to 6 a.m. isn't possible for you, try to at least align it with your birth time, if you know it. That adds a personal energetic boost. Find a place where you won't be disturbed. This could be your bedroom, a corner of your living room, or anywhere that feels safe and sacred to you. Turn off all electronics, phone, laptop, TV. You're creating an energetic field that should be free from digital interference. Dim the lights or light a candle. You can use incense, essential oils, or sound if it helps you feel centered. But don't overthink it. The most important element is your presence. Sit comfortably with your spine straight. You can sit cross-legged on the floor or in a chair, whatever allows you to be both relaxed and alert. This is a specific breathing pattern designed to shift your brainwaves into theta state, the same frequency you enter during dreams, hypnosis, and deep meditation. Here's the rhythm. Inhale through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 7 counts. Exhale through your mouth for 8 counts. Repeat this for 21 full breath cycles. You can keep count with your fingers if needed. During this breath work, you may notice light tingling in your body, changes in temperature, a sense of floating or expanding, colors or shapes behind your closed eyes, emotions rising up suddenly. All of this is normal. You're shifting into a different energetic layer of yourself. Let it happen. Don't force anything. Just breathe. Stay relaxed. Stay open. Once your breath work is complete, you move into the mantra phase. Silently repeat the ancient mantra, Sa-ta-na-ma. It may sound simple, but this sequence of sounds holds powerful vibrational keys. Each syllable connects to a specific energy. Sa, infinity, cosmic origin. Ta, life, manifestation in the physical realm. Na, transformation, death of illusion. Ma, rebirth, return to truth. Repeat the mantra mentally, not aloud, for 11 minutes. Let the words flow like a soft echo in your mind. Let your breath become effortless. Let your thoughts fall into the background. As you go deeper, you may begin to receive visions, memories from past or parallel lives, emotional waves, vibrations or light in the body. Deep inner silence. Some people cry, some laugh, some just feel peace. Whatever happens, don't interrupt it. You are reconnecting with your soul's original vibration. After the mantra, let everything fall into stillness. Now ask, silently, from your heart, who am I really? This is not a question for the intellect. You're not looking for a job title, a personality trait, or even a spiritual label. You're asking your soul to speak. Don't expect words. The answer may come as a sensation in your body. flash of an image, feeling of warmth or light, deep, unshakable inner knowing, vision of your true form or cosmic name. Whatever shows up, trust it. Don't question it. Don't judge it. Just receive. And if nothing comes right away, that's okay too. The question has been sent. The answer may come in your dreams, in the shower, in a conversation, or tomorrow morning when you least expect it. Once you feel complete, seal the ritual by saying out loud, I recognize who I am. I accept who I am. I honor who I am. These words are more than affirmations. They're a command to your subconscious, a signature on the soul's blueprint. This is how you anchor the truth in your body, mind, and energy field. Don't rush out of the ritual. Take a few deep breaths. Move your fingers and toes. Gently stretch your body. Open your eyes. Stay still for another 2 to 5 minutes if you can. Let your nervous system catch up. Let the experience settle. Drink water. Maybe journal about what you saw or felt. Do not jump on your phone or throw yourself back into chaos. Give your system the dignity of integration. Now, here's the thing. You can repeat this ritual. In fact, every time you do it, you go deeper. But don't overuse it. Don't turn it into a chore. Instead, treat it like a reunion, a return. Each time you show up, your soul meets you with more. Each time you ask, you remember more. And eventually, you won't need the ritual at all, because the truth will live in your bones. So now you've done it. You've walked through the veil. You've reconnected to the deepest part of yourself, the one that's always been there, waiting quietly behind the noise, the pressure, the programming. And maybe for the first time in a long time, you feel something real, something ancient, something unshakable. Not a belief, not a theory, but a knowing. Now comes the most important part of all, living from that place. Because the ritual, the visions, the insights, they're just the doorway. The real work begins when you start building your life from the remembered truth. So here's the question. What do you do now? Let's walk through it, together. You just had a spiritual surgery. And like any healing process, your system needs time to catch up. The world around you might not change instantly, but your relationship to it will. You might find yourself reacting differently, feeling more sensitive, noticing patterns you were blind to before. This is normal. Give yourself space. Let the energy settle before trying to fix everything. Remember, truth doesn't demand speed. It demands presence. After a soul awakening, your life will begin to reorganize itself around your new frequency. You'll notice synchronicities increasing, people falling away, new connections forming like puzzle pieces. Don't force anything. Just stay open. Say this often. Show me what I'm ready to see. Then watch. The signs will come faster than ever. You'll hear a phrase in a song that answers a question you just asked in your heart. You'll meet a stranger who delivers the exact message you needed. You'll feel drawn to a book, a course, a teacher, and it will be perfect. Follow those nudges. They're not small. They're soul-mapped. You don't need to repeat the full ritual every day. But you do need a daily touchstone to keep your soul activated. Even 5 minutes. Sit, breathe, listen. Speak to your soul as if it were your best friend, because it is. Say something like, what do I need to remember today? Where am I being guided right now? How can I serve with truth today? You'll be shocked how clear the answers become when you create the habit of asking. This is where the inner work meets the outer world. Because now that you've remembered who you are, you can't pretend you don't know anymore. That means saying no when something doesn't resonate, even if it used to. Saying yes to things that scare you, but feel like truth. Walking away from things that drain your soul. moving toward things that light you up, even if they make no logical sense. This is the difference between a spiritual moment and a spiritual life. It's not about being perfect, it's about being real. The more choices you make from your soul, the more momentum you build. It might start subtly. You'll notice people treat you differently. Opportunities come out of nowhere. You feel less attached to drama, less interested in control, less afraid of change. That's not coincidence. That's the universe reorganizing itself around your new vibration. Your external world is simply catching up to your internal truth. Things that once seemed impossible will now begin to feel inevitable. Because you're no longer manifesting from fear or neediness, you're manifesting from alignment. Stop trying to force your life purpose into a sentence or a job title. It's not something you chase. It's something that emerges when you live as your soul. When you show up consistently as your truest self, your mission will unfold naturally. It may not be one big thing. It may be many small things done with love and presence. Your purpose is not just a career. It's a frequency you hold. It's what people feel when they're around you. And that's the most powerful gift of all. You don't need candles or mantras or sacred music to access the divine. Those are tools, beautiful, helpful tools. But the real portal is you, your breath, your body, your heart, your presence. The more you remember, the less you need to remember. Eventually, you just are. You walk into a room and shift the energy without saying a word. You think a thought, and reality bends to meet you. You pray, and mountains move. Because you're not trying to connect with the divine. You are the divine, embodied, awake, fully online. This awakening isn't a one-time moment. It's a living process. There will be waves. Some days you'll feel invincible. Others, you'll feel like you've forgotten everything. That's okay. Just keep showing up. Keep trusting the process. Keep honoring the truth that now lives in your bones. Because once you've remembered, there's no going back to sleep. You might still feel fear, but you'll never feel lost in the same way again. You'll carry the light of your soul into every conversation, every decision, every quiet morning and chaotic afternoon. You'll radiate something ancient, something unmistakable. You'll be a lighthouse in a world of noise, and you'll help others wake up too, just by being who you already are. This is your invitation. To stop outsourcing your power, to stop waiting for permission, to stop pretending you're anything less than infinite. You're not broken. You never were. You were just waiting for the signal to remember. This is it. Now go live it.